Hello, hello. Yeah, sounds good. All right. Just wait for people to file in here. Been quite a week. Quite a week indeed. Had a small bounce. Hello, Pepe. Thanks for helping out, as always. I noticed yesterday that all of a sudden, the market was really wanting to bounce. I always start talking about the market until people have questions. But, over here on the daily chart, we had some bottoming tail wicks yesterday. But today we just gave it all back. And here's a great example again. This declining 5-day moving average is just the absolute dominant indicator of what's happening out there. And tell you what, I've been doing this a long time, and very few times have I seen this type of relentless selling. There's something going on out there. And I will pose this as well. It seems as though there's been a major shift. Thank God I'm positioned for it. But sell stocks and buy gold and silver. Look at silver today. They're absolutely panic buying it. I don't know if Patrick is here. Good afternoon, Edwin. Patrick and I always talk about silver. I'm the PSLV guy. Up 2.1, SLV, 2, same thing. But gold and silver, people are panic buying this stuff. So they're selling stocks. And when you see where they're actually going, it makes you more bearish that there's actually going to be a bounce to come and save us here today, because it seems like people are just throwing in the towel on paper assets and they're going for hard physical commodity assets. But look at that 5-day moving average. We just couldn't break above it. Now, I positioned myself last night, kind of saw this kind of a bottoming head and shoulders action, and I took some things home. And actually, it was this day too. So I actually came in cash and basically loaded up yesterday on, well, I had some silver stocks, but yesterday I loaded up on some quants because as I was getting to that, like QMCO just took off today. So there was a lot of the Q names yesterday that took off, that started to take off, and I grabbed Quamco actually pre-market this morning, and it was just a great day trade. I'm not even going to look that. That's one of the best day trades I've had in a while. But ARQQ and RGIT and a couple others, they were trying to get something going yesterday. And where I'm going with this, where I'm going with this is, these were the darlings, especially like Regati and the quant stocks of not too long ago. And if the market was going to stage a bounce, I thought that maybe the asset chasers would jump in there and try and get long the quants. And yesterday it looked like they were going to, but we just absolutely failed today without looking at individual names. There's your story. The NASDAQ it was poised. It was looking to make an attack. And quite honestly, guys, the selling was so brutal, we couldn't even challenge the 5-day moving average. The sellers just jumped in ahead of it and front ran it. So when you look at the bearishness of paper stocks declining and people jumping into silver and gold, it really does tell the story of what's happening right now. We're in kind of a major shift here. All right, perfect. James, having a hard time getting Brokerage Plus to behave like I tell it to, an IBKR to trade along with sell once my parameters are set. Couple questions. Have you talked to Chris Varley at all? I mean, I'll do my best to help you in here. And has he had you send a log of your log files of your trading? Because that's usually going to be the first thing we look at. And then have you explain to us, like, with the details, maybe of a particular order, trying to schedule a training session with him. Okay. That's going to be wonders for you to help. In here, I can help with a lot of basic scans and configurations, but B plus live, I don't have an IBKR live account. I do want to help you, but I'm not going to drop a bunch of documents on you because I'm sure you've already seen those. I would say this, James, if you haven't done it yet, if you watch me here on my screen, you just go to help, and then one click of send files to support will automatically generate a log file. You did one already, but was not helpful in this case. Well, if you haven't sent a log file in recently with like the current issues that you're having, I would do that under help and then send files to support, and then follow up with an email, of course, saying, hey, Chris, I just sent my files to support, and in detail, maybe this particular XYZ order didn't sell when I wanted it to. And if you can kind of give him a tip to what to look for, because he is the resident expert. There's not a whole lot I can do here live for Brokerage Plus live connections to IBKR. I can talk about using the simulator and things like that, but that doesn't seem like that's the issue you're having. If you're live and you're not getting things to set to behave like you tell it to, he's going to be the expert. He's absolutely up to speed on every last issue, known issue, or possible bug. So there's not much I can do in this live session to help you there. I can help, again, like I said, with people setting up simulated accounts and how to use the simulator. But again, if you haven't sent files to support, James, that's another step you can do. Help, send files to support, follow up with an email, let them know the details of how it was not behaving. Okay, so pre-market certainly is going to be wonky. Okay, well, if you're getting wonkiness and live trading's not working, I would definitely disconnect from live and start going to simulating and see, what happens. If you haven't seen, we did that weeks ago. Okay, this is okay. New issue. I would advise you to please new issue, get that, send files to support, and then follow up with an email detailing what were some of the trades you dealt with that were not behaving as you said. And again, in pre-market, you can only really execute manually in pre-market. I'm sure you know that. Limit orders only. So there's no auto trading in pre-market. But since he's already got a foundational start with you, and this is a new issue, as you said, he'll get back to you today, at least preliminarily, if you just let him know that you've got some log files to look at and give the details of the issues of the stock names and the times and the types of orders, etc. It's just one of many tools. I use these other tools on the screen here. I use Schwab, and I trade everything manually. The idea of Brokerage Plus was to allow people to, attach certain scans if they want to trade manually, like Michael Noss and other people. They like to be auto traders. They like to be bot traders, or it's set up if you want to use, ease of one click. But I don't use it. So that's why Chris is the expert. Oh, yes, Pepe's correct. I mean, I'm sure you've looked into this, especially if you've talked to Chris, but if you have the right data connection with them, it's usually $10 a month for their API fees directly out of IBKR. If you're not familiar with that, Chris can send you the details on how to make sure you have the right data connection with them. But me personally, I've got my Schwab account, and I use Street Smart Edge, old legacy, and I just manually click. I've never relied on the automated portion. Some people like to do that, but when you're doing that, obviously, as you can tell, we're adding a whole level of complexity, a whole new layer of complexities that have issues. It's a personal choice. Some people like it. Let me just tell you this. I don't know if you heard Dan yesterday, but we did 48 million shares. I'll repeat that, 48 million shares live trading through year to date. So we've got people who do like it. 48 million shares. I can't remember how many users that was. I think doesn't matter. But that's a lot. And so they just kind of quietly go about it. Now, trying to get it to do exactly what you want, it's probably not going to work off the shelf. It's going to require some tweaking and ideas, but you're on the right track spending time with Chris. I can tell you that. All right, you have full data subscription. I suspected you might have, considering you've already done a round with Chris, and he's probably already checked that on you. This market just can't get out of its way. And all day long, my 10 SMA has just been dominating. Price got below, and every time it tries to break out, the sellers are just laying in wait. And every share they sell, they're probably turning around and buying something in silver or gold. Wow, this QMCO has got a very small float and a very high short percentage. So again, I was happy to buy this one pre-market and sell it up here around 14. Can't do much better than that. So I'm not going to look back and wish I'd done something different. But the point is I was really trying to load up for some ideas because if the market had bounced, we could have traded higher. If the market had gotten through this declining 5-day moving average, we could have really built on it. And that would have been something that would have been a cue for me to hold as a swing trader for maybe 2 or 3 days at the most, just try to catch an oversold bounce. But it doesn't seem like we can even catch an oversold bounce here. But the day is still young. Yeah, that's going to be your best bet, James. That's not much I can do for you on here. I have people have to dig through the robot logs and find the details of your issue and kind of back into what might be going on. It could be user error, it could be a bug, but only Chris is going to know that. Oops. I noticed yesterday really was telegraphing as the market kept selling off this GDX. The gold miners were really giving us a hint. Pull up, kind of a nice little cup and handle there. And then today it all just broke apart for the shorts anyway. So again, the headline for today is sell stocks and buy gold and silver, or buy mining stocks, it looks like. Now I have a couple. I've got an offer sitting here in HYMC up at 298, I think. Let's see. 296. I'm going to try and sell some of this HYMC. I caught some of this run back here, and I kind of laid in wait and caught this pullback right there. So I'm trying to sell some right about there. So that is my focus, really, is these mining stocks. This is another one I found, and I'm trying to sell some of this at, I think, 52. Yeah, might get a sale. And then SSRM has been like the strongest of them all. I've been focused on these again. These are just super strong charts compared to what the rest of the market, the tech stocks, are just falling on their face. There we go. Let's see here. That's been a pretty good run. 939. I'm going to sell half. All right. Got to take profits sometimes. It's getting up here towards the high end of that range. All right, if anybody's got any charts they're fretting over and they don't know what to do, I can help. I mean, some charts are looking good and others are not looking that good. I just can't emphasize enough the weakness I've seen here in the NASDAQ and the SPYs. They just can't get out of their own way. And this is kind of why these are my two guardrails here, the main 5-day. And then the momentum catches it. And all of a sudden, the fast line, I call it. This is our fast line, and that keeps it in momentum until it doesn't anymore, which it breaks back above, like it tried to do back here, but we just got slammed. Oh, TRNR. I did try and play that one, but I've given up on it because I don't understand it. It's still a small penny stock, kind of waiting on the headlines. So, I mean, I could tell you I was interested this day right here, how it bounced off there, but I didn't do anything. because I just kept reminding myself that this is a $1.38 stock. It's been absolutely decimated for a reason. There was something going on with volume here. And let me just say this, Dylan, when you're trading these small cap stocks and they get these incredible 100 to 200% rises out of nowhere with incredible volume, usually the end result is they wind up like dropping a secondary, or they use that event to create more liquidity and just churn and keep it going. So in the bigger picture, I don't like the fundamental play of it. And technically speaking, I hate to tell you, it looks horrible technically. It's just been a methodical sell. And again, I'm going to go back to why my two indicators work here. Direction it's going, but it had a shot right there, but it didn't take it. Now it just keeps getting overhead slammed by the 10 SMA, and it's probably just going to continue to go down until it tests this little level back here once again. So I feel like it's just back in this mode. I hate to be the one to tell you that, but I was interested in it back here, but I talked myself out of it because I was afraid it was just going to drop a secondary. Remember, GDXJ moves fast. Yeah, thanks for reminding me that the trade of the week is GDX. I did participate in it yesterday, and I sold it at the close because it's not a fast mover. I wanted some small cap names. Sure, I could have bought GDXJ, which is the ETF for small cap names, which is up 3.5 versus 3.3. They're both kind of performing great, but this was the trade of the week, and it's working. And so I'm kind of eating my dog food with practicing what I preached. Now, I noticed going into the weekend that the gold stocks were just strong. And all week, here we are Thursday, it's been just more of the same, more selling in stocks and more strength in gold and miners. NIV top, let's look at Avgo. It's got a shot. Why do I say that? Well, internally, look at how the 5-day moving average is starting to cup and saucer back up. And so you've got this, you've got some support. So in the short term, you're on the right side of that blue line. On the daily chart, the good news is you did close above the 10 SMA yesterday, and you're still working above the 10 SMA today. So what this could do is it could just kind of chop sideways for another day, maybe going into the weekend. And then ideally, this 10 SMA will flatten out, and you start to get this consolidation where the sellers get frustrated, and you might get a relief bounce. But it all is going to probably hinge on this 190 level. The 5-day SMA is coming up right there. That's a low there. So watch that 190 level. That should hold. Yeah, Dylan, I don't trust those little penny caps as far as I can trust them. They're just looking for a PR event to drop a liquidity event and screw the bag holders. Gold hit almost 300. Yeah, let's take a look at this. This is some crazy stuff going on here. Love it because I'm positioned and I've got some physical gold as well. Why can't I bring that? There we go. No. There we go. So this was silver just panic buying this morning as the market was selling off. Gold 29.90. But this is our 15-minute silver chart. And if we go to a weekly chart, we can see this level here is 34.89. So basically, if you look up and see silver futures trading at 35 handle, they've broken out on the weekly chart as well. Here's our daily. Probably going to, it's a pretty good move on the daily. We're probably going to take a little rest here, give some back. Okay, good afternoon. Smell the seat. What is considered to be very good elite level PF win rate in odds maker? Granted, okay, profit factor odds maker. Granted, we provide enough number of trades for testing 6. Right. Profit factor, I believe we want that to be above 2.0, because what that does is it just kind of gives us the backward reverse engineering of risking 1 to make 2. So for all our trades, you know, at least we're making $2 net for every one. Let me see if I can get a better definition of that. Let me actually do something too. let's see. Let's pull up a, well, before I do that, Qubits, they've had a really good move while we got earnings today. So every time I pull up Qubits, I see earnings. Was it pre-market? I don't know. Double check those earnings date, but it's riding the 10 SMA here, isn't it? Look at that. I mean, that's a thing of beauty. Let me go to my cloud and we'll do a, yeah, on my Ramsey, the 15-minute is, it's a 5-day moving average and a 130. And that's actually what I'm going to open up here. The 130 is 130 15-minute candles. And that's how you draw a 5-day moving average on the 15-minute chart. So I'm going to do slam into the 130. I'm going to load that. And these are highs of stocks that are bumping and coming up and hitting this moving average here. So this is something we can back test. I'm still with you, smell the seat on the profit factor. I want to just kind of work through it. And by the way, I'll share this with you for anybody that wants it. Ramsey, I can save and share my chart. And so you can open my chart and just use it because this is, why am I not logged in here? Let me try something else. There we go. That should work. All right. Let's run a back test real quick. And what we're doing is we're trying to short sell. So I'm on the West Coast. I'll wait like an hour, half an hour. Timed exit. Let's just do, day after tomorrow. So these would be swing trades. We'll try that anyway. Risk management, risking 1.5 to make 5%. Advanced. All right, let's just run this real quick because the question is profit factor. Okay, 1.5. So 1.0 would be like basically you're flipping a coin back and forth. 2.0 would mean like, you're winning 2 for every 1. I hope that makes sense. I'll do you one better. Let's just also reintroduce to everybody the fact that we have a GPT. Trade Ideas GPT. Let's ask it. How do you define in backtesting? If you guys haven't seen this, after I log off, if you have questions, dividing the sum of all profits by the sum of all losses. The profit factor is greater than 1. It indicates that the strategy has generated a profit. So there you go. And you guys feel free to come by and ask the bot anything you want. This is actual GPT 4.0, but it's a private network only connected to our data. We've trained it. I trained it. This was my project. So feel free to come and ask that thing anything you want. Edwin, it's a 15-minute chart only. It will not work on the 5-minute. And just so you know, Ramsey, the daily, I keep these 2 lines blue, dark blue, for a reason. The 50-day moving average is in blue. That's a 50-day. To me, that's kind of the same significance as a 5-day on my 15-minute chart. They're both major levels of interest. If the stock's above, if it's trading above, it's healthy. If it's trading below, it's not so healthy. So that's really a benchmark. And then I've got the 10 SMA right here. And look at how the 10 SMA works on the daily charts. It just follows it up when it's in motion. It's a momentum daily, momentum, and then it broke. The red is a 20-day. And sometimes that acts as a backstop to the 10-day. It'll pop it back into the trend. But when they're all jumbled up like this is stuff you don't really want to be trading in here. You want to be focused on this kind of stuff. Or intraday, If you're day trading more, we're focused on it's a nice, beautiful semblance. It's a perfect marching pattern. It is in motion. It is in momentum. So just like Edwin's asking, the indicators are as such. If I go to my editor, I've got 130 periods on a 15-minute chart. Now, what you could do, if you wanted to use a 30-minute chart, you could do 65. You just cut it in half. But it gets a little tricky beyond there. All right, Ramsey, good stuff. If you're new, I just try to teach people to not chase green bars. If you're a new trader, don't get excited and chase qubits when it's there. Watch qubits when it's down here, or watch qubits even more so. This is your entry right there. Or if you're still bullish, it's extended, but this is your entry here. This is your entry. As close as you can buy to something in momentum on the 15-minute chart. Don't chase. Wait for the jump rope to come around, and you lean on this 10 SMA, and you just tell yourself, look, if this thing is truly in motion, it's like a VWAP. It's very close to the VWAP. The bots are not going to let that thing get below it because they've got buy orders, and they're all going to be scrambling to compete as close to that line as possible. And that's where you want to jump in and compete with them. What they're preying on are the new retail traders who see new high, new high, new high, and they chase these highs. And then they sit there for an hour and they get frustrated and they go, why did I do that? And then they sell right back into the hands of the smart traders or the smart algos. I'm so surprised, quite honestly, that the NASDAQ is so weak and the quantum stocks are just in a relief rally. That's crazy to me. I do not use EMA. I use SMA. They're just close enough to me. It's just close enough. It's not an exact science. It's an area. It's a gray area. Just consider a little band in there. All right. I love your honesty. You chased SMCI. 60. Oh, okay. So let's learn from this. The real cue was down here, seeing SMI is doing something. Look at that, and then we have consolidation. So you want to look for one, momentum, two, consolidation, and then the first move out of that consolidation. That's the play. But what happens is we're humans and we're all wired to want to feel safe. We run along with the herd. If the herd runs, we run with them. And so the herd's running and running, and you see this thing running for 3 days, and you're like, I want to get in on this. And then we learn real quick that when you buy things that are extended, that have come down from down here, you've always got to ask yourself, from where did it come? Where's my opportunity from where I'm taking it? Is it the greater fool theory up here? Hoping that you find a greater fool. Do I use, no, the short squeeze scanner is not, I'm sorry, I was misreading it. Yeah, I will use it to swing trade. So this is one of the reasons I was in Quamco. It's one of the reasons I was in RGTI. And yeah, there's Quamco, 25%. And then yesterday, RGTI, I looked down, 22%. I looked down, I'm like, oh man, this thing. So every now and then, but the full answer to your question is, what's the market doing? And at that moment in time, I felt like the market was basing and we were getting ready for a relief bounce. So with that said, that's the perfect backdrop to grab a short squeeze. It's one of the perfect times. The best is in a runaway up market, but that's when usually the shorts might think, okay, we've had a good run, good profit. It's time to get out. And so you get these, what they call oversold bounces. And that's all it really is a lot of short covering, a lot of people jumping in, trying to pick a low. And so yesterday I felt that it was ripe to do that. So to answer your question, yeah, it just depends on what day, and also if I happen to look at it, but at least once or twice a day, I'll come through here and just scan. And of course, the obvious note is Qs, the Q stocks. They're having a good day. Wow. Now I'm starting to regret getting out of this thing. No, I'm just kidding. But again, there's your entry right there. And guys, you see that blue line? I was literally trying to bid back into this thing, but I was guessing where it would be. And I was about 50 cents too low. So I'll do that all the time. If I get a great run, buy here and sell up here, I'm like, wow, I sold that thing when it was really overbought. I'll just keep an eye on it for the next hour. And if it creeps back down, it's still in play probably. I'll see if I can get myself an entry close to the 10 SMA. Well, it never even got close to it. So that's an indicator as well that there's a lot of pent up, probably shorts. The shorts are being absolutely squeezed in this thing. And they've had a great run since 40 or 35. So, and then I will say this, I'll look left. And by the end of the day, this red line is the 20-day SMA. We're now midday. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the last move of the day that tried to make a new high. This is probably it for the day on this thing. Because as I look left, it's hard to take out the 200-day and the 20-day all in one. You usually are going to get some resistance at those key levels. And so looking at the 20-day here, we are well above it, but the 20-day is resting about 13.60, about a dollar below. Probably right up there, right up there. So it's possible by the end of the day, you could see it, they just do that. They'll bleed through during the day, but by the end of the day, there'd be a big wick. And it's like they got caught up in a net. And that's exactly what this backstop, a 20-day moving average, can do. It can kind of really throw water on a rally. So it's still frothy up here. But let's see. It's very, very thin stock. Usually not my game, but I enjoyed that one today because I kind of came in yesterday to answer your question again, Paulo. I came in yesterday saying, whoa, the Q stocks are in play, the quantums. Let's not lose sight of these guys. I actually bought Quamco pre-market, and I paid up for it too. I kind of felt like I was chasing, but I did it. Let's see, pre-market. Yeah, I logged in, and I saw that it opened up here and slammed down, and I bought it right about here, 1170. And it slammed down and then right back up and never looked back. That's back on highs. This thing's a monster. But do we jump in and chase it right here? No, we do not. This was our best entry, but it was still hard to catch because it never touched the moving average. All right, let's look at LFWD. This was on a Holly this morning. Okay, look at how the 200-day caught it. It kind of threw a net. Like I said, declining moving averages have a way of throwing water on big rallies, and it did so. But it gave us a secondary opportunity right here, and it looked really good right there, didn't it? But it never got going, if you see what I mean. So I'm going to talk to people who are maybe looking to trade Holly ideas. This was an idea, and it came back and gives us sometimes a second opportunity. Well, in this case, that second opportunity is bleeding, and it's probably not going to work because it needed this candle to be built upon right there. It needed to start going right there, but it didn't. It just withered away and bled below my rising 10 SMA. So when they start letting the rising 10 SMA, hold the top end of the candle and keep it suppressed, that's just my indication that momentum has died. So the AI Holly is here to show you where momentum is, but how long that momentum lasts is, relative. Some days it'll last all day. Some days it won't last more than 2 hours. Let's check in here, the markets. So trying to get a little relief bounce close to yesterday's lows. The question is, will the 10 SMA, after 7 attempts, let this thing relief bounce? I don't know. We'll see. Like yesterday with CRVO, let's take a look. Yeah, so yesterday with CRVO, you got a nice secondary opportunity right there. Probably would have been the best one, really, to try and catch that little move. Gap up. I'll tell you what, guys, if you, it's a great example of something. Let's say you were in CRVO, regardless of what price, wherever, and you take it home, and I would have taken it home because it's closing at or near highs for the day. Now, what happened overnight? And what I'm getting at is, what do you guys do? And you probably, hopefully, have this scenario. You got a big winner yesterday, and boy, it's gapping up again today. What do you do on the open? Do you get greedy and hope for more, or do you just pound out immediately? You pound out immediately. Whenever you've had a giant day one green candle run closing near highs and day two is all done overnight pre-market, 9 out of 10 times that's just going to run out of steam the minute the bell rings. So just trying to maybe plant a seed for you guys that at some point, if you catch a really nice winner and you close on highs and you take it with you overnight, you get exactly what you're hoping for. The last thing you want to do is go for more greed. Just take that gift horse and don't look it right in the mouth and sell it, because 9 out of 10 times you're going to wish you had. I hope that resonates with somebody. And I hope some of you are using that Chat GPT too, once I showed that. If you just you're a new user and say, how do I create a scan for pre-market? Something simple. How do I create a scan for pre-market movers? There you go. I mean, I'm not going to read through all of it, but pretty cool. There's the event you need. There's the alert you need. I mean, I'm really hoping some of you had no idea that we had this on our homepage and start utilizing it, because you should. It's very intelligent. HSBC. Banking. British, so it's an ADR, means it's going to gap on you every single day and night, because the real trading occurs in the London Exchange. It's trying. Let's look at the intraday. So our first order of business is what? It's below the declining 5-day here, so it's under pressure, but it's trying. And once you get into this level between the 10 SMA and the 130, I call that the pinch. Because what will happen is you've got walls now, you've got guardrails. At some point, you're either going to resolve down or you're going to resolve up through it. So it's a nice setup when you get back into that sweet spot to at least observe it. Yeah, NivTop, I hope you're talking about the GPT, because it's very cool. I mean, once I sign off here, if you've got more questions, go hit it up. It only costs us a penny or so every question. It doesn't matter. We want people to get as much info as they can. But on the daily chart, we've broken. We've lost that beautiful trend we had going back here. And more importantly, this day right here, this is why I refer to the red line, the 20-day SMA. This is why I refer to that as the backstop. You see how everybody jumped in there and they said, great, it's hitting the 20. Let's buy this wonderful dip at the backstop. And it didn't work. Overnight news. This is why I wouldn't play a stock like this in America, because the overnight news, you have no chance to get out. That's a tough one. What swing channel? I'll tell you what I would like, Paulo. It's not so much on a channel, but you have access to it, and it's introducing it to you to the trade wave. So let me turn on the trade wave on the daily. No, not you. I need to clear out of that. Trade wave on the daily. Here we go. Okay. So make sure that you've got your browser charts on, and you can go to this FX icon right there and click that and turn on trade wave. Now, everybody says, well, do you have an alert that tells me when a buy or a sell comes? And we kind of do. It's just buried. So it's buried in the Market Explorer. So follow me on this, Paulo. We're going to go new Market Explorer window. And then it opens this. If you haven't been here before, that's kind of non-intuitive. So we got to get into the menu, and we're going to select strategy. And at the very bottom, we've got 3 time frames for TradeWave. And if you say swing trade, I'm going to select daily. So TradeWave buy on the daily. Now we've got this list, and this is all March 13th. So these are all ideas that have come out today. Now, I don't know if they're coming out in real time, but because I believe they're using yesterday's candle. But this is something you can check in the morning or in the close, or I prefer the morning. But look, I'm going to start highlighting. I just clicked IFS. Okay. There's the buy tag in IFS. Oops. So what it's doing is it's giving you, let's see, it said buy it today on the open, okay, FOSL, but it's not telling you what to do every single moment. It's just giving you a list of ideas that happen to have a fresh buy tag. Now, what's also cool is the, hold on a second. Strategy is the 5-minute trade wave for faster times. So I can go, for anybody who's watching who wants to see the 5-minute trade wave. Now, I don't use this. Again, you know why? Because I've been doing this 25 years. My eye doesn't see what everybody else's eye sees. So for new traders, this is a really good scan. And this is a bit more fresh. 5-minute, why? Let me see here. There we go. I opened my expansion. So TARS just came out at 9:35. That's fresh. So here we're on a 5-minute chart now. So it's basically saying, hey, you know, based on the math, which is moving average crossovers here, in the orange cloud, it's weak. When the cloud turns dark blue, and this is the distance between 2 moving averages. So the wider the distance, the stronger, the darker, the more the color. So what this buy tag is showing you here is hopefully the beginning of what this was back here. This buy tag before that blue came in. Now we can continue down and look at more things. Adobe's got earnings, but look at that. You know, it's starting to round out of a base day after earnings. It's giving you a buy tag. So what I like about this for the newer trader is I don't know if it takes volume into consideration. That's a good point. You might have to use that as your manual scanning point to make sure you've got good volume. As I said, it's not a list of buy now. It's a list of ideas that just so happen to have that buy tag. I mean, it's going to, notice over here, you can sort by volume. So I can double click. Now we can go, okay, these are the biggest volume leaders. So to answer your question, yeah, we can use the sort feature. Intel, everybody knows Intel. Intel just got a buy tag back here. So what's nice about it is you stay in these trades until the sell tag comes in. And that's really what new traders are looking for. They're just kind of looking for that nudge to help learn the timing of being a better trader, because otherwise you're just going to, you know, experiment until you lose money and learn the hard way. So I'm turning all that off. And honestly, that's not a bad setup here. Look at my 10 SMA is coming up to meet the Intel. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that, Apollo. Is sorting by whatever column you want. I had it sorted by time. That's the default. So the newer ones will come out on top, which is probably the way to do it. But just keep an eye on that volume column. Okay, what do we got? 2 more minutes until this candle closes. And for the moment, we have yet another fake wick. We can't get the body of the candle to move above this declining 10 SMA. And this is all I'm looking at, guys. You know, I can show you TradeWave, I can show you AVWAP and other things, but my 15-minute chart tells me the story I want, whether I'm day trading, honestly, or swing trading. I mean, I day traded Quamco all day with the 15-minute. I didn't never use the 5-minute. That thing is just a monster. Still doesn't mean it can't close a little bit lower, but okay. Niv top, did you catch that? I'll do it again for anybody who else. Again, you want to turn on your trade wave. You go to FX and turn on trade wave. And then once your chart are set up, you go to new. Oh yeah, pinch play scanner. That's a good one too. Market Explorer. Niv top. Market Explorer will get you there. Again, there's no buttons. You just got to go through the menu, select strategy, and come down to the bottom. You got 3 time frames. I think weekly is a tough one. You know, if you really want to do slow position investing, that might be a good one. Day trading is going to be your 5-minute, and then swing trading would be more daily. I forgot about that. Did I have one called pinch play? I mean, as you can see, I don't have 9 million scanners hitting me up every second. I don't want that overdose of information. The pinch play. I forgot about this one. So that's a great one. Thank you for the reminder of that. I'm going to load this into my scan. And I'm going to do so by minimizing it and save my layout to update my layout with that minimized. So I can pull it up and look at it. How did I configure that? Well, obviously I'm using those 2 moving averages. And there they are. Okay, the 150, the 130, and the 10. So I'm fine. I'm using just these 2 15-minute filters, the 15-minute 130, which I had them create because I told the guys in the development it was such a key indicator. So they appeased me and did it. But that was many years ago. And then the 10. So those 2 settings alone, it's got to be at least above the 10, but in between that 130. And what it does is it gives us this list of things that are going to look like that. And as I was saying earlier to you guys, once you get the price in between these guardrails here, it's going to either resolve one way or the other. And guess what? That should help you make the decision that you need to make. It's coming, NetTrade. Good question. And you're going to love the way it's coming. All right. It's coming up here. It's going to be one on the tool menu. So you'll be able to just go boom, GPT, and you'll have a nice big fresh window, probably in the very next beta version. I've already seen it. It looks great. No, there's very little configuration for the Market Explorer Apollo. It's very complex math that Michael Noss did for us, and it's not part of the regular scanning architecture. So there's no filters that you can turn on or turn off. It's basically just what's on there, the data points that are on there, but you can sort by them, and that's it. So there's no way to filter out anything. You're going to get what you get. But you're right. If you need to, sorting that column by volume will probably at least keep the liquid ones in the top half of it. But yeah, this is cool. Every single one of these. So what happens is you look at these and you think, wow, okay, that's step 1. If this BTAL can get back above that moving out, maybe I'll do step 2, which is create a price alert. So you're taking a top list, and then you're turning it into an alert window, but you're waiting for that resolution confirmation above that line. And now all of a sudden you'll be alerted. You won't miss it. And that's the power of trade ideas. So yeah, and you can't use a symbol list either. So again, you get what you get. And your idea of maybe just sorting by volume might be a good idea. Because where there's smoke, there's fire, generally with good volume. What's going on in the market? I got about 5 more minutes. Okay, so yeah, see what I was talking about, guys? This is just brutal. It's unrelenting. Yet again, another rejected. I wonder how many people bought that, and they go, "I'll just set my stops at lows," and it's just the wheel of momentum. It's a vicious cycle of selling, and it's pretty bad. I was really hoping that these bottoming tails the last 3 days would hold, and we'd get at least a push. But we can't even get that. We've got a solid red candle. Can't even get a midday bounce. It's pretty weak. And like I said, the money's flowing into gold and silver and copper. Okay, yeah, so I got like another 5 minutes for anybody that's maybe sitting on a question that needs help. Speak now. Oh, this market's getting ugly. I can just see. This is my yeah, and this might be worth doing too, guys. I mean, it gives me this is my pulse. It gives me a pulse on the market. When I see just red movement in here, it's nothing more than new highs and new lows. But I'm using the symbol list of the S&P 500. So I've got 500 S&P symbols in there. And when I just see this thing just turn red and move, I don't even need to pull up the chart. I can just tell the pulse of the market is very weak. I could be turning and talking or doing an email, and all of a sudden this window lights up green. If I was waiting for a bounce, that pulse is telling me, hey, there's a big bounce. There's new highs. I suppose I could put new 30-minute highs and lows in there like I do in this ticker down here, which is basically my watch list of stocks I like to trade around. Anyway, no problem, Paul. We're here every day for 1 hour. We try to get as many questions in as we can. Volume profile. Well, are you familiar with relative volume? Every chart is going to have a relative volume figure for you. And the relative volume, we want to be above 1.0. If that's what you mean. Substitute volume. To use volume profile in trading view. I'm not quite sure what volume profile is in trading view. Do you mean like are you talking about the shelf volume that comes from the side? If so, we don't have that. But I love, relative volume is a good one because ours adjusts in real time, and it's constantly looking backwards for this time of day using like a 10-day average. Volume divide, yeah, exactly. Those price shelves. I think some TrendSpider calls them price shelves, volume shelves. Volume shelves. We do not have those. I'm sorry. What we do have is pivot, though. We've got pivot lines R1, S1, R2, S2. And you can use those in a scan if you wanted to, like show me a new high, add a pivot line. You could use that as a filter. So now we don't want to go to new lows either. So we got stymied to try and break a new hour high. We rolled back over, but we can't follow through to the downside. So we're just kind of stuck here. There we go. All right, guys. Any last thoughts or questions before I run? Thanks for reminding me of that scan again. I'm going to keep that one in my layout for a little while just to watch it. It's a good example, too, of how we can use trade ideas to really corral the price Andy's good at corralling the price on a daily chart using position and range. And this is a good way of corralling price on the intraday using those two scan indicators. Picks. All right, guys. Looks like I've got about 5 minutes at the top of the hour. I got to use that 5 minutes. So Andy will be in tomorrow. If you're new, he's the same swing trader style as me, pretty much very similar. We just kind of trade a different group of stocks a lot of times. But thanks for your questions. I hope I was able to help a lot of people. Sorry I wasn't able to help the person at the beginning. That's much more advanced with Chris. James, if you're still here, I'm sorry. But the rest of you, thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.